Good morning, guys. Excuse the voice, I'm a little under the weather. I wanted to record a video for you guys for the next step for 506. So we are going to be using an instructional design model called the Dickand Carey model. I'm putting up this template. Please go ahead and make a copy of this template for yourself and name it, and don't mess with my original template. So what we're doing here, the first step is a needs assessment. And I have another video that talks a little bit more about needs assessments. But your needs assessment will allow you to write steps 1, 2, and 3 for your instructional design model for your professional development. So what you're doing, the end game of this, is to create a very high quality professional development experience for the teachers at your school. After you create it, you will deliver it and then evaluate how you think it went. So this instructional design model is much like writing a detailed lesson plan. It just gives us organization and guidance on how to do it. So I'll very briefly go through it, and if y'all have any questions, as always, feel free to text me, call me, whatever you need. So after you deploy your professional development, that is when you're going to come here. So step 1 is to identify your organizational goals. So what are your large term goals for your school? Where are you right now? Where do you want to be? And again, this isn't your opinion. This should be developed from the answers of your needs assessment. And don't forget about, in your needs assessment, do you need to deploy this needs assessment to teachers? Do you need to give it to administration? Do you need to give it to students? Who do you need to evaluate in order to answer these types of questions? And you should definitely see a large gap in between where you are and where you want to be in regards to technology in your school. Okay, so after that, you are going to look at, up here you were talking about just very broad things, whole school things. Then you're going to come down here and you're going to talk about, okay, who are your learners going to be? I assume it's going to be the teachers at your school. So what are their current skills in regards to technology professional development? How do they like to get instruction? Do they like face-to-face? Do they like asynchronous, synchronous, live online, or online that they can use at any time? What are your characteristics of your instructional settings? So if your goal is to go one-to-one in your high school with Chromebooks, well, does your school have the capacity to do that? What's their Wi-Fi look like? Do they have places to set up the devices? Do they have the manpower to administrate the devices? And what are the characteristics of the setting where the skills will eventually be used? So if you want the teachers to be using these one-to-one Chromebooks with their kiddos for assessment purposes, well, what is in that classroom? In that classroom, is there enough bandwidth to do this? Is there an appropriate smart board so that they can do this? Does the teacher have the skills and the hardware, software needed to do this? Then down here, all of your needs assessments are going to drive you to write your objectives. Just like writing an objective for your classroom, you're going to be writing your objectives for the professional development. Next, you are going to be developing formative and summative assessments to address these objectives. Remember, your assessments need to match your objectives, just like in a lesson plan. Step 6 is when you're actually going to create all of the materials that are needed for this professional development. So that's going to include screencasts, that's going to be handouts, that's going to be everything. This is going to be a huge section when you get down here. And then color code it for me. So after that, we will get into delivering the package and evaluating the professional development. How do you think it went? So when you're doing this, guys, think more large scale. So don't think that you are going to train fourth grade teachers on how to use screencasting. No, that's not what we're doing. We're really trying to identify a purpose for this professional development and deploy that purpose large scale. For example, think of the technology as an afterthought rather than the forethought. So, do you want teachers to be using technology for assessment? Do you want them to be, so that would be the focus, would be assessment. And then the technology that would drive that might be Kahoot, clickers, Google Forms, etc. So do you want the teachers to be using it for collaboration? So you want the teachers to be collaborating amongst themselves, and you want the students to be collaborating amongst themselves. Well, that's an awesome goal. To do that, again, secondary, you would try to train everybody on Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, maybe Remind, and all of these various tools that we learned in, go back to 501 if you need to look for the tools. So do you want to, let's see, what other example can I give? If you want to do global collaboration, so say that the goal of this is going to be you want to teach your teachers and your students how to have global collaboration with technology. Well, that's really cool. So how would you do that? Well, Google has some tools for that. Skype has some tools for that. Google Hangouts has some tools for that. So these types of things, the assessment collaboration, global collaboration, are your larger ideas. So you want to start with a larger idea before you choose your specific technologies that you are going to give professional development on. Now, where did I get these three things? When I do that, excuse the background noise, we're studying for exams and my 8th grader's not too happy about it. So I'm going to do ISTE standards for students or for teachers. What I would do is go in here, and we've evaluated these before in other classes, guys. So y'all should be familiar with the ISTE standards. So we've evaluated these before, and we've self-evaluated and said, okay, me personally, I'm thriving in these areas and not so much in these other areas. Well, now it's time for us to look at the teachers in our school and the students in our schools and say, okay, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And pick out a couple of these and then ask your teachers, what would you like to learn about? So maybe you're talking about digital citizenship. Are we teaching our students about digital citizenship? Do they build relationships and communities online? Do they know about digital literacy and safe, legal, and ethical practices? So this is going to be the focus of your professional development. That's fabulous. Do that, have that at the forefront of your mind. And secondary, you talk about what technology you will use. So I hope that helps, and have a wonderful day.